All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another WNBA video. Today, we're going to talk about the Indiana Fever defeating what was the undefeated New York Liberty. We're going to talk about some news, some rumors, some other stuff. We're going to do some All-Star voting at the end because All-Star voting has opened for the WNBA in their All-Star weekend. It is going to take place at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indiana. Indiana is going to host the All-Star game and it's going to be a great time. But we need to talk about this Commissioner Cup game versus the New York Liberty and the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever won the game 102 to the New York Liberty's 88. The New York Liberty now stand at 9-1, could not get to the franchise record 10-0 to start a season. So yeah, let's talk about what happened in this game and talk about all that other stuff. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinion, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. Now, let's get right into it. I've been wanting to talk about this game for a hot minute now. Had some NBA stuff to take care of course, because that's the priority. But we're winding down on that, and then we'll be full steam ahead with the WNBA and all that good stuff. So, let's talk about the big headline for this game. The big headline for this game was Caitlin Clark's return from an injury. I forget what it was. Doesn't matter what it was. She wasn't on a minutes restriction, and she wasn't um, limping or anything. She seemed 100%. They were just being a little careful with playing her in spurts. And when she played in those spurts, she played a total of 31 minutes, but it was like, oh, like 5 minutes here, 4 minutes here throughout the course of the game. WNBA game's only 10 minutes long. The quarter is only 10 minutes long. So it was a bit interesting to see how they used her, how Coach Stephanie White used her. But man, when she came into the game, she got really hot during that first half. She was knocking down some crazy threes. Um, and then throughout the course of the game, when she came in, she was pushing the pace. She was getting other people involved like she knows how to do. There's how many people? There's one, two, three, four people in double digits for the Indiana Fever. There were only one, two, three, four people. Well, counting Caitlin, five people in double digits, but four people in double digits for the New York Liberty. And Caitlin Clark was the reason the Indiana Fever won this game. I don't think Indiana wins this game without Caitlin Clark. Obviously, the role that the New York Liberty were on was crazy. Um, but to talk about Caitlin Clark in those spurts, in those little moments, um, 32 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, was very close to a triple double. 7 of 14 from three, hit some long range bombs. When I'm talking about bombs, I'm talking about like bombs. Um, 11 for 20 overall from field goal. Did have 7 turnovers. She was a bit rusty, but I will say Caitlin Clark is the only player that I've seen this happen to. Is she overthrows the ball so much, or the ball is too hot and her teammates can't catch it. Like I've never seen one of her teammates catch one of her like bullets to the far side of the floor. I've never seen it quite yet. I don't know if that's a her problem or a team problem, but she's just like miles ahead of everybody else. That I think she forgets that, oh, this is way too hot. This person can't get over there quick enough. So 7 turnovers wasn't nice, but what she did throughout the course of the game was stretch the floor for this team, get other people involved. The whole team looked great. This was one of the first times I've seen this Indiana team look really complete. They are 5-5 on the season. I assume they might be like 7-3 on the season if Caitlin had played the last couple games, but they are in the situation they're in. Talk about the rest of the team. Lexi Hull, um, who is on the right of your screen. Obviously, Caitlin Clark on the left of your screen if you don't know. 14 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Made 3 threes. Kelsey Mitchell, 22 points. Took a lot of threes, did not make a lot of them, but she caught fire at some point during this game and stretched the game out for them when Caitlin wasn't on the floor. That was the big question coming into this game was what is this team going to look like when Caitlin's not on the floor and Caitlin's just sitting there antsy, wanting to get in the game, wanting to help the team. Kelsey Mitchell helped alleviate some of that. Sydney Colson off the bench also helped alleviate that with 10 points. Um, Aaliyah Boston, 10 points, 11 rebounds, down there working um, what was left of the New York Liberty front court. Jonquel Jones did not play this game. She was out with a right ankle injury, so that was a big story as well throughout the course of this game. Natasha Howard, 4 points. Um, yeah, 4 points, 4 rebounds. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I do want to break down some things here, just talking about both teams in general. Um, there's been a lot of conversations about Natasha Howard and Brianna Turner. Or no, pardon me. There's been a lot of conversations about Brianna Turner and Dewana Bonner, who did not play this game, but that they're there for veteran presence, but they don't do much else. They're just kind of there, which is true. I think veteran presence is very important on this team. Um, as the as people on Twitter would call it, Trace Leches. That's Caitlin Clark, Lexi Cole, and Sophie Cunningham. Um, I won't say big three, the faces of the team. We'll say that. That's a better way to put it. The faces of this team, along with Aaliyah Boston, really carry the load on this team. Obviously, Kelsey Mitchell, not a household name quite yet. Only been doing this for a couple years so far. She signed a very lucrative deal for this team, so she's gonna be here. But these other players like Turner and Bonner, I'm not saying the signing is looking bad. I'm just saying you could have used your money a bit more differently. Sydney Colson is not going to have this type of game every game. Um, Again, this team is 5-5 for a reason. Without that guard play of Caitlin Clark, and a lot of it falling on Kelsey Mitchell and Sydney Colson and their other, who's that other player they had to let go? I forgot her name. I'm so sorry. I forgot her name. See if I can find her name real quick. Uh, 1 second. Aria Ariel McDonald was somebody was not was somebody everybody's campaigning right now for the Indiana Fever to sign to a full-time contract. They had to let her go. You can only have so many people on a roster in the WNBA, so they had to let her go. But I assume she will not be without a job for long. Now, to talk about the Liberty, we'll talk about some stuff that people are not concerned about, but just talking about. There's always something to talk about. And then we'll talk about the numbers and everything. Man, oh man, have I never seen a team or a team. Well, how do I say this? I've never seen people complain about a team getting more fouls than this New York Liberty team. This New York Liberty team gets the favorable whistle in almost every situation. Um, it's quite very obvious. As somebody who's been watching the New York Liberty since they got Sabrina Ionescu, um, it's very obvious to me what's going on. They're the champs. The WNBA wants them to look good. No problem there. I have no, I have no, I have no. There's no. What's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? There's no like mystery behind it. I know what's going on. As a basketball fan, as somebody who's been watching the WNBA, I know what's going on. Is it right? No. Is it what happens most of the time when anybody wins a championship in any basketball league? Yes. Um, is it painfully obvious and hard to watch at times? Yes. Um, it's just so difficult to watch and digest because it's not basketball. It's simply not basketball. And what everybody has always campaigned for in women's basketball is that women's basketball is real basketball too. You know what I mean? That's what they've been fighting for I think is the league's 25th year or something like that. Is it 25th? Like something along those lines. Um, that's what they've been campaigning for. And when you sort of pervert the game with these like unnecessary calls, the favoritism being in such a way, Um, it makes you look bad. And I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm just saying when there's a team that's actually playing basketball, the Indiana Fever were actually playing basketball and not like this pseudo, like, oh, I got a call. Yes, foul line, right? It's a little ridiculous. And if you look at the free throws taken, Indiana only took 16 free throws. The Liberty took 30. So I'm not just making this up. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass right now. I'm not. I'm telling you the numbers and I'm telling you what I saw that Saturday. I'm telling you. And Liberty fans aren't gonna like it. I'll tell you what, as somebody who's been a fan of a championship team and a championship organization, um, I know how it feels to get those calls. I've also been a fan of teams that have been in the dredges of the league and are not close to winning anything. And it does not feel good to be on the other side. I just wanted to keep that in mind. So when I read these numbers to you, I can tell you how inflated they are. Um, Not to say they didn't earn their numbers and earn their points and whatever, but just giving you a little context to what the game actually was and not what people will tell you and what people won't tell you in the media because they'll just say, "Oh, Liberty, the Liberty lost the game. The Indiana Fever didn't win the game." Whatever the case may be. Um, to the numbers now. Brianna Stewart, 14, not 14, 24 points, 3 steals, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Did not make a three. 7 of 15 overall from field goal. Shot 14 free throws, made 10 of them. Um, Kennedy Burke, 3 points, made one. They didn't even make a 3 pointer. What is that? That's she had an and one. She had 2 points and then the free throw. Jesus. Oh my, oh jeez. I always butcher this name. Let me see. Nara Sabali. Jeez, that's how you say it. 10 points, 9 rebounds. Just simply was not enough. She's a good backup. Not Nara is, but man, is she tough to watch when she starts. Like she tries her butt off, but going against like a girl like Aaliyah Boston, who is that girl, she played very well this game. I loved Aaliyah Boston's passing this game, especially out of the post. Um, Nara just can't do anything with it. Natasha Cloud, after playing some really competitive, really good games at the beginning of the first 9 games, or first 9 games, um, came out with a stinker: 5 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 0 4 from three, 1 of 8 from field goal. Just wasn't she. Caitlin Clark had her in a tizzy. She had Natasha running around the court, closing out on shots that she didn't think was there. Like it was crazy. Um, the real bright spot for the Liberty was Sabrina Ionescu at 34, um, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 4 of 10. Was in a little bit of a shootout with Caitlin Clark at times. Shot 11 for 20, played 38 minutes. Um, really good game for her, really composed game. Um, I've just been so. I've been really keeping an eye on Sabrina. As somebody who's also a Sabrina fan, dating all the way back to her Oregon days, um, I've been really concerned about Sabrina's game in the sense of she doesn't always look comfortable. And I don't know if it's because there's more mouths to feed, in the sense of like you have to share the ball with Natasha, with Brianna, with Jonquel Jones when she's in the lineup. But like, I don't feel like Sabrina's playing the same game she used to. And there's nothing wrong with that because they started the season 9-1. But it's just a little concerning to see her sort of mold into this just pure score almost. That's a little inefficient at times. I mean, we can look at the numbers right here. I want to see her field goal percentage, her game log field goal percentages here. Um, all right, yeah, here we go. So let's see. Let's go through these field goal percentages here. Okay, so dating back to opening night, 3 of 12, 5 of 9, 8 of 20, 3 for 8, 7 for 21, 9 for 16, 9 for 6 for 9, 3 for 17, 9 for 14, 11 for 20. It's just not. Some of these games just don't aren't screaming to me Sabrina. And a lot of these games was this one, two, three, four, five. She has 5 games with 20 plus points this season, which is good. And she's averaging 19, so that's basically around what she is. But it's just so it becomes so it's just awkward to watch for me now. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm even making sense saying all this, but it's just an awkward watch for me. It's just so different. And she's talked about how she was injured the first couple years of her career, and she's playing the game differently versus how she's playing it now. She added the floater to her game, a very dependable floater. But to me, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe we'll see in a couple years when Brianna Stewart's retired, when this team looks a little different. Maybe Sabrina will revert back to what she really is. Because I don't think this really is Sabrina. Sabrina is playing a role, and I'm always a fan of role players, but this role for Sabrina doesn't quite feel right to me. But then again, I'm just a guy talking. They're 9-1. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. Um, Marina Johannes, 10 points off the bench for the Liberty, and that was the last scorer in double digits. So yeah, I just think it came down to, I actually think, this is crazy, I think Stephanie White outcoached um, Sandy Brondello in this game. The way Stephanie White checked in and checked out Caitlin Clark was a shock for this Liberty team because they could never really pin down when she was going to come in, when she was going to come out, who was going to defend her. It really wasn't the recipe for a victory for the Liberty, and I was very surprised by this Indiana Fever win. Um, let's move on here. I do have some news to talk about. All right, we got some news to talk about before we get into the fun All Star stuff. I saw this article and I thought it was very intriguing because I heard some rumblings and some post game interviews from players, and the schedule for the WNBA has been weird this season. But this is an article from Front Office Sports, a page and I guess it is a newsletter as well, that I really like. It has some very insightful things, and I just want to read to you the headline here. The longest WNBA season is already getting bumpy. A month into the WNBA season, the longest WNBA season ever, players are getting vocal about the need for improvements to the schedule. Um, if you did not know, the WNBA is playing its first 44 game season. I think they went up from 38 to 44 this season. So it's a big milestone for the league. This article is by Annie Costelli Annie. Shout out Annie for writing this article on June 11th, 2025. And it was updated on June 11th as well. So there's some updates here. I'm not gonna read the whole article. I don't like to do that. If you want to check out the whole article, I'll put it down in the description. You can read it yourself if you are so interested to. But I just want to read through this. I have not read this article at all, so if there are some pauses, I apologize. But the headline got my attention. um, let's see here. The 2025 WNBA season is bigger and better than ever before. There are more nationally televised broadcasts with TV viewers and sold out crowds, but the growth has not come without pain. Nearly a month into the season, the increased 44 game schedule has drawn heavy criticism for players, some whom have called out Commissioner Cathy Engelbert directly. Um, oh, here we go. Okay, first quote from Liberty guard Natasha Cloud. Um, if Cathy keeps adding more games in this short stint of time, more injuries are going to continue to go up. When you are talking about big business and overall protection of your investment, we are the investment as players. Your job is to protect us. End quote. Over the last 5 seasons, the WNBA schedule has steadily increased from 32 games in 2021 to 40 in 2023 to 44 this year. The maximum permitted under the collective bargaining agreement, which is supposed to be up this following year, this off season. Um, I just want to make my opinions just known here. Um, I think this has always been a problem in a lot of sports is that as athletes, you feel entitled to a certain lifestyle and a certain care to be given to you. Um, this is the reality of business: is that nobody cares about you. If you are not important enough to a franchise, they will throw you to the side at a moment's notice. Um, they will protect you because you make them money, but once you stop making them money, they don't care about you. That is the reality of sports, and that is the reality of life. Um, and I think, especially in the WNBA, they're so used to there's been such a sameness, such a season in, season out, even back in the day where players would have to go overseas to make their real money because they weren't getting paid well in the WNBA. It was just to get eyes on you to play in the WNBA in America, and then go play in Russia, go play in China, go play in Turkey, or wherever it might have been. Um, and over there, they had better amenities than in the WNBA. But the thing about the WNBA is that players always want, and this is going to sound so bad, but it's the truth. Players always want more, but they want to do less. And guess what? If you want protections and you want better amenities, you need to make more money. There need to be more games. There are going to be some sacrifices along the way. In the NBA, there was a long period of time where former players did not get any money. Once you were done, you were done. Now I believe there's medical care. Once you play in the NBA, you get medical care for the rest of your life. I don't know how that works, but that's something people fought for and people got, and there were some sacrifices along the way. And I am not going to insinuate that you should sacrifice your body, but if you love basketball and you want to win, you are going to have to sacrifice your body. That is the plain facts of it. There has never been a player in this league that's not sacrificed their body once. There has never been a player that has never not sacrificed their body, not taking a risk to go out there on a bad leg and say, "I want to win so bad, I'm going to do this." I think that mindset needs to be a bit more, needs to be a bit more culturally acceptable. To be like, "Yo, you're not just going to get it because you want it. You have to go get it. You have to fight for it, and it has to be the right way to fight for it." Which I think the next collective bargaining agreement will be fought for on both sides fairly. Um, in a let me see, how am I going to read this? So the article is saying here that the article is saying here, giving some examples that the Phoenix Mercury have played 9 games in 18 days, um, and in the players' minds, the simple fix is Natasha Cloud, Liberty Guard, also said Kathy needs to extend the season. Um, this is the other thing about extending the season is when you extend the season, you're gonna run up against these other sports. And do you think you're big enough and bad enough to run up against these other sports? Run up against American football. Now that you might be able to get away with football because they're two sort of different demographics and different people that watch the WNBA and watch football. But you're gonna run up against those other things. You're gonna run up against um, TV networks picking bigger sports over you. These are things that need to be thought about. Um, let's see here. What else do we got here? The Liberty will also play the most back to backs of any team this season, with 2 more on the schedule. A number of league stars have already sustained injuries, including guard Caitlin Clark, who has missed 5 games with a quad strain. Sky guard Courtney Vandersloot, who tore ACL and her team's loss to the Fever last week. That is incidental. I'm gonna disagree with this. ACL is incidental. That's a This sounds really bad, but that's a woman injury. Women are more susceptible to MCL and ACL injuries, to more knee injuries than men are, by just by the numbers, just by medical research. That is a non-contact injury too. That is not a wear and tear injury. That is a completely separate thing. I'm gonna disagree with that. And she's freaking. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna sound so bad in this video, but it's the truth, man. So you're telling me a 36-year-old with a knee injury is because of the schedule? That's what you're trying to tell me. Oh my god, yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to insinuate. If she was 26, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe. Bro, she's 36 years old. What do you expect? People aren't supposed to play sports for when they're 36, dude. You're not supposed to play professional sports, I should say. That's crazy. That's crazy that they put that in this article. That's crazy. Um, it continues here. There's been There has been no increase in injury rate compared to last year, the league says. League officials did not answer the question whether they had consulted with medical training staff this year about the schedule. Experts emphasize the only real way to prevent injury is proper recovery time. This is the thing in the NBA too, where where is it good or bad to load manage players? Because it hasn't been proven that load management works long term. In the short term, obviously it works. In the long term, it hasn't shown that it works. And it's also been proven or shown that if you play more basketball, like they're trying to say here, if you play more basketball with the appropriate amount of recovery time in between 2-3 days in between each game, fewer back to backs, it is better. But it is the proof is in the pudding that you need to constantly put the miles on your body to get your body used to it is the way you need to go about it. Now, if you're more susceptible to knee injuries, to ankle injuries, shoulder injuries, whatever it is, on a play-by-player basis, that's up to you and the team. You have to sit down with your team and figure, hey, I can't play back to backs. I can't do this. I can't do that. And you might have to look like an asshole to your teammates and be like, hey guys, I can't play. We might be on a 3-game losing streak, but I can't play tomorrow because it's a back to back. You know, these are things that are talked about in the NBA and the WNBA, and it's a slippery slope to go down this thought process of um, well, we want more money. There needs to be more games. We want a longer season, but we don't want to play as many back to backs together. The NBA has solved the back to back issue very well by playing sort of a baseball series when you go to a certain city that's across the country from you. But there definitely needs to be some more tweaking as well. Um, let's see here. What other stuff in this article is going on? Yes. All right. So yeah, this is a quote from Brianna Stewart, the WNBPA vice president. I know on both ends between April and October there are things happening, um, but I think that's one of the biggest talking points in the next CBA is we can how can we make it so teams aren't playing 4 games in 6 days, 3 times in a season, and continue to have rest and recovery so we are at our best. Stewart added that players will continue to see the league grow and understand the complications presented with scheduling, but the priority is to have more balanced regular season scheduling. That's fair. I'm not gonna um, disagree with that. Brianna Stewart went on to also say, everybody's schedule is tough. It continues. It gets difficult at times, oh boy, we just want to be able to have it make a little bit more sense. But if we have to have these stretches where there's 3-4 days, and then we have 1 in 7. What is she trying to say? Because we have these stretches where it's 3-4 days, and then we have 1 in 7. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna pretend to understand what that means, but I just thought that was interesting. This article actually made me scratch my head a little bit. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation to be in. It really is. All I'll say is that when you let players and you let anybody involved in basketball playing in the league they are in right now in any sport, it gets sort of dangerous, and players don't know what's best for them. I think we're in this era of player empowerment, which is good, but too much power for anybody's bad. And I'm on the side of player empowerment, but I'm also on the side of maybe you guys don't know what you're doing, because you see in the NBA with the last collective bargaining agreement the NBA had, they introduced the first apron and the second apron, and it's effectively ruined building teams for the long term. You can only have a team together for 3, 4, 5 years, and after that, you have to dismantle the team entirely and start over. Um, so yeah, that's my rambling done. Let's move on to something fun to close out this video. Let's move on to WNBA All Star voting. Um, how this works is that you will select 6 front court players. That's center, forward, center, power forward, small forward, and then you will select 4 guards. And this year is very interesting because they will do an NBA style WNBA All Star draft where we will pick the people in that pool, and then two of the top vote getters will pick their teams and draft their teams. This will go on national television at some point. I don't know when. I couldn't find the article that said it. Um, just to go over some stuff here real quick. Last year, the All Star game was in Phoenix, um, and it was a weird one because it was an Olympic year, so they had the Olympic national team play against WNBA All Stars, and I'm going to read you the WNBA All Stars from last year, and then we're going to do our voting ballot, and then we'll get out of here. Um, WNBA All Stars for 2024 consisted of Duana Bonner, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Alicia Gray, Derica Hamby, Brianna Jones, Jonquil Jones, Kayla McBride, Kelsey Mitchell, Enrique Agumbawale, Nneka Agumake, and Angel Reese. Some of these players will not make my ballot. Some of these players will not make the team this year. um, let's get this done here. All right, let me do my guards first. So we got 4 guards. We got 4 guard spots. I am going to vote. By the way, just to preface this, in the NBA and in the WNBA for certain, the All Star game, when you vote, when the fans vote, it's a popularity competition. Personally, I like winners. I like people that are winning games. I like people that actually have numbers. I'm not voting you just because you're popular. I'm voting you because you're good at basketball and I'd like to see you in an All Star game. That's my point. That being said, I'm going to vote for Caitlin Clark. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. My first pick. I'm going to vote for Kelsey Plum. 20 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Pretty good stuff. I like that backcourt too. That'd be fun to watch. Now, do I vote Sabrina Ionescu, who I voted almost every year before this, I think? Perhaps. Let me look at some other player. I'm not voting for Paige Beckers. Her team sucks. She's probably gonna get in though. Jewel Lloyd's not having the best year. Hmm. Hmm. I'll vote for Natasha Cloud. I like Natasha Cloud. She's grown on me a lot. She gets a vote. 9 points, 4 rebounds this season. And then where's my girl? Where's oh my god, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Did I pass her already? I might have passed her already. Oh my god. I want to vote for Skylar Diggins. Yes, there she is. 18 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Very impressive this year the on the sky, not on the sky, on the storm. Yeah, so my guards for this year, my picks are Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum, Natasha Cloud, Skylar Diggins Smith. If you want to check out who I voted for in the NBA All Star selection, I did a very good job on that. I'm very proud of that. I'll put a card in the top right corner. You can check it out if you're also interested in this past year's NBA All Star selections. Now, for the forwards, this is where it gets interesting. I think you have to vote in Nafisa Collier, NBA MVP front runner. I'm gonna vote in Asia Wilson. Have to get a Las Vegas Ace in there as a Las Vegas Aces fan. Now there's Satu. There's Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston would be a great one. Jonquel Jones. Um, um, hmm. Not a lot of pickings. There's not a lot of pickings. I'm gonna be quite honest. There's not a lot of pickings. Not a lot of names that are popping out to me right now. So it might have to be. Um, oh man. Again, this is an all-star game. I like Jonquel Jones a lot. Well, she's been very entertaining this season, Jonquel Jones. But it is an all-star game. I'm gonna vote Satu, and I'm gonna vote Aaliyah Boston in my front court. So, oh, we got two more spots. We can vote. We can vote everybody in. I thought we only had 4 spots. All right, bet. So, I guess we'll vote in Jonquel Jones, and then we'll do. Do I want to vote in Brianna Stewart? That is the question. Or do I want to give somebody else the nod? Um, I wish Cam Brink was here. I'd vote for Cam Brink in a heartbeat. Hmm. I think it's gotta be Brianna Stewart. I gotta do it. I mean, it could vote. Uh, you already got 2 All-Stars. Brianna Stewart doesn't need to be there. Let me vote in Nneka Ogwumike as my other forward spot. So, this is my All-Star selections for this year in the front court. Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, Satu Sabali, Aaliyah Boston, Jonquel Jones, Nneka Ogwumike. I realized I did not go through their numbers. Let's see. Nafisa and Asia, both 20 plus points, around 4 rebounds, around almost 10 to 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Um, Satu, 20 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds. Um, Aaliyah Boston, 13 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. Jonquel Jones, 13 points, 10 rebounds. Nneka, 15 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, Nafisa, Asia, Satu, Aaliyah, Jonquel Jones, and Nneka in the front court, and guards, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum, and Natasha Cloud, alongside Skylar Diggins. That is my vote. That is who I want in the All-Star game. It's going to be very interesting to watch this draft. My last thought is, who is going to be the leading vote getter? I have a sneaking feeling it's gonna be between like Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson and um, maybe Brianna Stewart's gonna get some buzz. I did not vote in um, Sabrina. Sabrina might get some buzz as well. You have to think about who's in big markets as well. Um, but yeah, that is it. Tell me who you voted for the All Star game. I'll put a link in the description so you can vote yourself if you want to. Um, yeah, should be a fun All Star draft. Should be a fun All Star game. There's more talent in the WNBA than ever, and I think we're in for a treat for the next handful of years with this All Star game as it gets bigger and bigger. So, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.